Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube NFL prediction segment. I'm going to be giving you my preview of the 2020-2021 AFC Divisional matchup, which pits the Cleveland Browns against the Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, this could be more compelling and intriguing than what many first anticipated. This matchup I knew this matchup was going to happen, 6 weeks ago, I would have probably said, well, it's simply preposterous to think that Cleveland could go into Kansas City and at least make it a competitive game. Now, after what I've seen with what Cleveland did to Pittsburgh the previous week, and the fact that Cleveland has actually played good teams very well. I mean, they lost to Baltimore in a very tight game that could have gone either way. But the fact that Cleveland now, I think, is playing with more confidence and swagger, they have a chance to make this close. It would be hard pressed for me to think that they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but they can certainly make it close. And I mean, I'm looking at the Chiefs winning maybe by a touchdown in this matchup. The thing about this is the Cleveland Browns. I mean, well, first of all, Kansas City. I mean, safe to say unequivocally, they are the supreme team, I would say, in the NFL. But again, going back to the Cleveland Browns having some swagger and confidence right now, they're playing at a high level, and the thing is, they do have some chance in this game, and some of that's attributed to the fact that the Cleveland Browns were one of the better running teams in the NFL this season, and the Kansas City Chiefs were just 21st against the run this season. What I look in this game is more, somewhat methodical offensive attack by Cleveland, that they're going to go to the ground and pound, method to try to win this game. They try to dominate time of possession. And don't get me wrong, Cleveland can put up a lot of points. They have shown, greater ability to pass the ball than they did earlier in the season. But I think in this matchup, considering the weakness on Kansas City, I think they're going to try to exploit the weakness of the run defense of the Kansas City Chiefs in order to prevail in this contest. Now, the thing about it, though, is now Kansas City, though, on virtue of their experience, the fact they were home is going to play dividends for them. Now, the Chiefs were 6-2 at home this season, but the Browns were respectable 6-3 on the road. Remember, one of those losses came, the Chiefs had at home this season. They only lost 2 games this season. They're 14-2 as far as their overall record. One of those games was the last game of the season, which was insignificant and meaningless. They had already, of course, clinched the #1 seed in the AFC. And then the other loss was like an 8-point loss or something to the Raiders. It was a divisional game. That was and that was a competitive game. Right there. I think since that point in time, the Chiefs had, learned something from that. And sometimes a loss is good for a team because it enables them to understand their defaults and deficiencies. Now, looking at this contest, though, Kansas City. I saw some stat. I don't know if it was online. Believe it was online somewhere, but it was online somewhere actually, that the Chiefs, I don't remember the exact numbers, the last 7 games they won were like by a total of 26 points or something. I mean, they've been in some very competitive games, and that can give Cleveland some hope as well. What I wonder, though, about the Chiefs is that maybe they were just toying with some of their opponents, and it's a time now where they understand this game, it's win or go home. I would expect them to win by a little more than 4, but again, I do predict like a 7-point victory for Kansas City. I think it's going to be something like 30-23 Chiefs, but we're going to find out soon enough. And the thing about this too, and again, going back to the Browns, were respectable 6-3 on the road. They are 6-3 on the road, counting the postseason. So they've shown an ability to be able to play well on the road. they're certainly not going to be intimidated or be in fear of the Chiefs. I don't think right now the Browns are afraid of anybody, and I think they actually believe they do have the ability to go into Kansas City and pull off an upset. Say you have some, I was watching something. This was on NBA, TNT on Inside the NBA one time. That Charles Barkley, one of the analysts there, had said something like, you got these teams that might say, on the surface, whatever, we could win and we could beat this team, but inwardly they may not really believe it. But I think with the Cleveland Browns, I do believe they can actually win it. And even if they say outwardly, I believe they actually inside they do believe they can emerge victorious in this one. Now, the thing about it, though, too, is the Chiefs were number one in passing offense during the season, spearheaded by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and they were also number one in scoring offense. But we look at the, or at least were one of the best. They may not have been number one scoring, so we're one of the best teams in the league in scoring points scored per game. But the Browns were number 22 in pass defense. And I think it may be it was strongly exploited last week against the Steelers because they gave up 501 passing yards to Ben Roethlisberger last week in the Steelers. So even though the Browns won that game, they have difficulty in as far as defending the pass. I think in this particular game, Patrick Mahomes, obviously, I think it's safe to say he'll throw for a minimum 300 yards in this one. I think that's going to be, really one of the big keys in this game. The thing about this is that, Cleveland, one of the fact is, going back though, before that, the Chiefs are, were 21st against the run this season. They're just going to have to make sure they could contain Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and they understand that the Browns are going to be likely trying to focus on that running game and try to have the Browns maybe beat them with the pass. The problem is that the Browns offense it's like it has improved progressively as the weeks have gone by. So the Browns show that they can still beat you the other way. The thing about but I do believe they will. The Chiefs are going to find a way to contain that running game, and because I'm sure that's something that they have really focused on and worked on during their practicing. And the thing is about this too, is that as far as history goes, history can mean something. The Chiefs have won 3 consecutive games against the Browns, and 4 of the last 5. The Browns, though, we have to keep in mind they're obviously much better than they were back in those years when the Chiefs had dominated them. And the Browns are a rejuvenated team, and they have, again, more swagger. They believe they can beat anybody. Now, it's interesting that statistical categories, these teams are very comparable. The Chiefs were +6 in turnover differential this season, the Browns +5. They were also very close in takeaways. The Chiefs had 22 in the regular season, the Browns 21. And as far as giveaways go, they were tied at 6. Both had 16 in the regular season. Based on these numbers, these are teams don't have much propensity to turn the ball over. I don't think they're going to give themselves anything self-inflicted that in this game. However, turnover battle can be important in this one, since neither one really doesn't seem to turn it over that much. I'm going to think, because this is going to be a little more pressure on the Browns having to go into Kansas City, and to do this on the road again. Keep in mind, if they put up like 48 points last week, the Browns, that expended a lot of energy. Kansas City is rested in this game. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. They're going to be at home. And I think the pass defense of the Browns is just going to be exploited. I think the way I look at it is this. I just believe in this game, that the Chiefs are going to do more as far as their passing against the Cleveland secondary than what Cleveland's going to be able to do as far as running the ball against the Chiefs' run defense. Uh, Kansas City just finds they have a unique ability to find a way to win, whether it's ugly, whether they annihilate somebody, you know, whether they get, the turnover battle. This is a team that just finds ways to win, and for me, it's hard for me to see Cleveland going in there and winning their second consecutive road game. I just don't think Cleveland is quite there just yet. I think they're on the cusp or the cutting edge of becoming really in like an elite team, but it's just not. They could be a year or two away. I think they may get to that point in the near future, but it's just not the time right now. And the thing about, I just believe that Kansas City will find a way to get this done. And I'm going to, again, I like the Chiefs in this one. I think like a 7-point victory. I'm looking at like 30-23 Kansas City in this one. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.